What's going on, everybody? Cheers. Happy Wednesday, or whatever day of the week it is when you are watching or listening to this. Welcome to the With Her Two Hands podcast, where each week we celebrate the women who build, fix, and make the things that make the world go round with her own two hands. Except this week, we don't have anybody else to chat with. You just get me. This is episode 195 of this series, which is absolutely insane to me that this has been going on this long and that I haven't run out of amazing women to interview yet. I just keep finding more and more incredible women, which is just wonderful news. We are still by far the minority, but the numbers are increasing, and I appreciate every one of you who comes back week after week to meet all of these incredible women, to hear their stories and help spread the word about them and share their message and hopefully spread some inspiration and help normalize this idea of women being out in the trades, working hands-on, defying what we're told to do of, don't you want to just work in the office instead? Or wouldn't you be happier if ... So we are seeing more and more women getting dirty and building and making and fixing with their own two hands. And we appreciate all of you for being part of that revolution, for normalizing that. If you're new here, welcome. I know sometimes when I do these solo episodes, it brings a whole group of different folks. So welcome to the With Her Two Hands channel. I hope you'll stick around. We have some incredible guests throughout the year. Every Wednesday, and in fact, every Monday, we also do archive episodes because this series, if you're not aware, this series used to live on Instagram. It started way back in COVID times. And it was a thing to do to keep us entertained, and it just kind of stuck around. It was so much fun to do, and so many people seemed to enjoy it. But we left Instagram, moved over to YouTube, which has been a little challenging, I must admit. So I could definitely use all of your guys' support in helping spread the word about this series. It feels a little bit like starting over, and so that's been rough, but I appreciate those of you who've been super loyal. I do have to do a quick thank you before we dive into tonight's ramblings. Quick thank you to our longtime partner on this series, Drive Time. They have been our partner on the With Her Two Hands series, and they've also been a partner with a lot of our activities at the shop, including our current charity build, which I will be talking about soon. So tonight I plan on covering what's going on with the charity build, what that's all about, what's going on at Girl Gang Garage, and I've got some stuff to say about the industry. So shocking, I know, that I have stuff to say about this industry. But I also want to answer some questions. So if you guys have questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I will do my best to both ramble and keep you entertained and keep an eye on the comments and do all of that as best I can. So thank you guys for your patience, and thank you for tuning in. We've got Hannah Stout's mom in the audience. Hello, Jeannie. Jenny, I'm not sure. Anyway, hello, nice to see you. We've got Bob Miller, of course, is a regular. We really appreciate your support, Bob. 59 Frames, what's up, my friend? And of course, Brutus 350, thank you for joining in and your constant support. We've got a great group of folks who like to come back regularly every week, and I'm so grateful for you guys. Brutus is asking if Audra Forden might be a good future guest. That is a great call. I have not had Audra Forden on. It's been a minute since I've chatted with her. I've known Audra for years and years and years, but I will reach out to her. That's a good thought. Thank you for that recommendation. So let's dive in. And like I said, as you guys have questions, please just throw them in the comments. So first order of business, let's talk about this charity build. So if you are not familiar, or if you've not been following me on my social media page, which shame on you, go follow me on my social media page, Bogi's Garage on Instagram and on Facebook. And of course, make sure you're following Girl Gang Garage as well. So our charity build, if you're not familiar, Girl Gang Garage and myself, we've led 3 different all-female builds over the last 7 years? Since 2017. So yeah, 7 years. Crazy. Okay. Lots of time has gone by. So in the last 7 years, we've done 3 all-female builds. They were all like masterpiece show cars, right? We took a car that was destined for the junkyard, literally falling apart, and put all of our blood, sweat, and tears into it, and we did something crazy to each one of them, right? We not only restored it, but we customized it, we modified it. Our most recent one, the Iron Maven, is actually in Sweden right now, very proudly representing women in the trades in World of Volvo, or at World of Volvo in Gothenburg, Sweden. But they've all been show cars. This car is completely different. So this build that we're doing is a car that literally was in the salvage yard. We reached out to my friends over at Pull Apart, or You Pull and Pay. Those are You Pull Apart recently acquired You Pull and Pay, so they're kind of the same company, sister companies, however we want to explain that. But locally, it's You Pull and Pay. Elsewhere in the country, it's Pull Apart. But we talked to them about what we were wanting to do with this build and this charity idea, and they were 100% on board immediately. They love doing stuff to help give back to the community. So they agreed to help us get a vehicle. So we took a minivan. We took an adventure down to the salvage yard. A group of ladies and I, we looked at a couple of different vehicles. We found it is a 2007 Honda Odyssey minivan. And we are going to bring it back to life. It's a little rough around the edges. It needs a lot of love. But we are going to be giving it a new life of service for a local organization called Maggie's Place. Maggie's Place is a nonprofit that specifically serves pregnant homeless women, or homeless women with small children, and many times women who end up homeless because of domestic violence, abuse, all sorts of other really unfortunate situations. In fact, just last week's episode, if you missed it, we had an incredible woman on as a guest who was in that very situation and managed to get herself and build herself out of it. Now she's a successful business owner. But she was at one time living in her car on the street with her babies. And Maggie's Place does a lot for that population of women, from helping them get out of difficult situations to getting off of the street, getting training, getting to doctor's appointments, getting into housing, getting skills built up so that they can build a life for themselves and for their family and for their children. And so I'm really excited to be partnered with them on this. And to be able to serve them with this build. And then Drive Time, of course, is our main partner on this project, and they do a ton of community service and giving back. And they actually had a large group of their women throughout their organization. So women who maybe worked in finance or worked in buying or worked in logistics or whatever within Drive Time's organization, but not necessarily hands-on. They all came out to the shop for a corporate takeover or team building day and did a full assessment of the vehicle. So they learned how their organization does assessments and what different roles in the company play, and got to meet one another and network and build skills and build confidence. And it was a ton of fun. But at the end of the day, we got like a, 7-page list of things wrong with this minivan. So, we have our work cut out for us. But it's all maintenance and repair type stuff, nothing that we can't handle. And unlike our past builds, in our past builds, we were often doing something that none of us had ever done before. Making a car into something different, merging two cars together, re-engineering things, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. This is we are fixing the broken things. We are putting it back to stock. We're doing what most automotive professionals are doing, right? Like SEMA, the Specialty Equipment Manufacturers Association, tends to get all the glitz and the glory of the automotive industry. They're the minority in the grand scheme of things, right? The vast majority of the automotive industry is fixing John and Jane Doe's cars and getting them on the road so that they can keep people safe and get them to and from work. And then there's a small percentage that does all the fun, crazy stuff, makes it go faster, makes it prettier, makes it shinier, makes it whatever, right? So we're going to be doing all the basic stuff, keeping John and Jane Doe specifically here, Jane Doe, lots of Jane Does. We're going to be keeping them safe on the road. And so it's a little bit different. We're going to be doing a lot more training, a lot more workshop style. And even though we could, in theory, get this van ready and drivable and looking good back on the road, probably in a month or two with paint and all that good stuff. What we really want to do is take a long time with this, not because we want to keep Maggie's Place from having the van for a long time, but because we really want to do a lot of training and hands-on opportunities with it as much as possible. And so sometimes that makes taking a really long time to do something that shouldn't take that long. I say shouldn't in air quotes, right? If it's your first time doing it, it's going to take a long time. That's just reality. So perfect example, we had a woman who was at the shop recently. She is actually a professional pilot, so also a total boss. She's been a pilot for as long as I've been a mechanic, but she doesn't know mechanics. She understands processes, and she was very smart and took to it very quickly. But at the same time, we spent a couple hours learning how to use a ratchet, how to know which direction to turn a ratchet, what a socket is, how to tell the difference between sizes of sockets, what the difference between a nut and a bolt is. And these are things that so many people don't know, male or female, right? Don't know these things. And nobody's teaching them, right? And if you get to a certain stage in life, I think a lot of people feel like, well, if I don't know what it is now, if I ask, I'm going to get made fun of or I'm going to get laughed at. And the reality is, the automotive industry is really known for laughing at people for not knowing things, right? Like I hear technicians all the time laughing about customers not knowing things about their cars. I'm like, well, yeah, because they're not technicians. They don't know. So yeah, of course they don't know. Let's not make fun of people for not knowing things. So yes, this build is going to take a long time, and I want to emphasize that if you are a woman out there who thinks that this sounds remotely interesting, please come and sign up. I don't care how much experience you have. I don't care if you have zero experience. That is a-okay. Like I said, we worked with a woman today who didn't know what a nut and a bolt and the difference between the two was, and that is okay. There is zero judgment at Girl Gang Garage. Every day is different. We never know what it's going to be or what kind of ladies or kind of skill sets or what experience level we're going to have. So it's always an adventure. But we are all always learning, no matter how skilled you are or how little experience you have. So if you think that this is interesting, please come on out. We just got a comment from the Tamer. I'm a manager of Advanced Auto, and I don't know a lot of things. Hey, I mean, I've been a mechanic for 25 years, and I don't know a lot of things, right? We're always learning. Every day is a school day, and that's okay. The older I get, the less I know, right? Or the more I realize that I don't actually know very much, because there's so much more to learn always, and things are constantly changing. So I love that at Girl Gang Garage I get to teach, but I also love that I get to learn every day as well. We also had a request for the fundraiser link. I will make sure that fundraising link is in the bio. Oops, I pressed the wrong one. There we go. Fundraising link. I will add that into the description down below. It will also be in my link in my bio on social media. There's two different ways that you can support this charity build. There's actually a bunch of different ways that you can support the charity build. So one, come and get involved, right? If you're a woman, come out, get involved. There is no admission fee. If you'd like to donate, that is welcome. It definitely helps us keep doing these things and helps us keep it a free experience for women and keeping those barriers of entry really low. There are so many barriers of entry for women to get into these kinds of fields that it has always been my commitment to not add to those barriers of entry, but hopefully lower them a little bit by making it very accessible. So free or very, very inexpensive. But in order to do that, we rely on the support of strangers and businesses and partnerships. So if you'd like to donate, you are welcome to, but it is not required whatsoever. The only thing that we ask is that you bring 5 non-perishable food items to the shop. And that all goes to Maggie's Place because they have a food kitchen or food bank for the women that they serve as well. So the more we can do to help get them stocked up and supplied and provided for, the better. So 5 non-perishable food items is the very low cost of admission to come and participate in the bill. Now, if you are not a woman, if you don't identify as a woman, because we are totally open to that as well, but you'd still like to support the bill, there's a couple of ways you can do that. One, you can donate to Maggie's Place. They are, of course, a nonprofit 501c3 here in Phoenix, Arizona. I believe somebody asked earlier if they were a local or if they are in different cities. My understanding is that they are just local, David. But I'm not positive on that. I'm pretty sure they are just local. So you can make a donation to them. And as well, the invite to you guys, gentlemen, is also open. You can also donate to Girl Gang Garage. We appreciate the support tremendously, and I'll have a link for that in the description down below. We are a passion project and very much get by the skin of our teeth every month, and any help is always appreciated. If you are a company, a corporation, you'd like to partner with us, or if you would like to do the cool thing that like Drive Time did, where they did the corporate takeover, it's a hell of a lot of fun. We've done it with a number of different organizations now, and it's like, you could go to Habitat for Humanity, or you could, and that's awesome. Like, definitely do that at some point with your company. You can go to an escape room. You can go out for pizza and beers. Like, those are all wonderful things, right? But if you're looking for a fun, unique, kind of different team building activity, or specifically looking for something to honor and appreciate the women in your organization, bring them out to Girl Gang Garage for a takeover, and they can be part of this charity build and get hands-on and get dirty and learn some stuff and meet each other and all of that good stuff. So that's the build in a nutshell. That was a really long nutshell, or large nutshell. I am not good at keeping things brief. Have you noticed this, guys? Brevity is not my skill set. So where are we at with the build right now? We are in the very, very early stages of kind of figuring out what are all the things we need. As I mentioned, Drive Time came out with a group of ladies. They did a full inspection. We found all of the things. And the list is long. We are probably going to wind up painting the entire vehicle. We are probably going to replace at least one of the seats. There's some engine issues. There's some transmission issues, maintenance stuff. Our goals for this van is obviously it has to be safe, right? I want to make sure that we're giving them a van that is, or a vehicle that's going to keep them safe, keep the ladies safe. But I also don't want to give them a vehicle that's going to break down 5 months from now. So I want to make sure that we're ahead of all of the things that could go bad anywhere in the near future. So we're going to kind of be extra proactive in the repairs. And then even though it seems maybe silly, I feel like cosmetic actually matters, right? Like, I want this van to look good, because so many of, I would assume all of the women who are in the situation that they're in, that Maggie's Place is working with them, they've had some blows in life, both unfortunately literal and metaphorical. Wow, I just blanked on that word, metaphorical. And so their confidence may not be at its highest, and their self-esteem may not be doing too good. And so we want to do whatever we can do to help them feel a little bit better about themselves and start rebuilding that self-esteem and that positivity. So I want them, when they're going to appointments and looking at apartments and all of those things and going to classes, I want them to be getting into a vehicle that they feel really good about, and that they feel special, and they feel taken care of, and they feel supported and loved, because they are. And so that's really important to me. So we want to make this van feel really good and look really good, and of course be really safe and functional. So we have got our work cut out for us. There's a ton involved. We're building out the list. We will be reaching out for support from some industry partners on this, to get the various parts and pieces and whatnot. So if you're an organization or company that wants to get involved, hello, reach out, send us a message. Shoestring budget here, just trying to do some good in the world. But so yeah, we have started to take apart our new deck lid. So here's a fun fact. And side note, side squirrel, is that if you don't follow my YouTube channel, make sure you do. There will be some long form videos on YouTube that are coming out. There's one coming out relatively soon of us getting the car. We're going to do one of the drive time takeover and some of the inspection and that kind of stuff. So there's stuff coming. So make sure you're subscribed so that you stay alerted to that. And make sure you follow on social media so you can follow along. But you guys are getting the scoop before it's all officially released. So the fun thing, back to the original squirrel, is the deck lid, the trunk, right, of these Honda Odysseys are all trashed. So at the salvage yard, the one that we wound up taking back to the shop to restore had a ton of damage to the deck lid. So we started looking around the salvage yard to see if there were any others available. And we looked at like 5 other Honda Odysseys, and all of them had the exact same damage. It was ridiculous. And then we finally found the Holy Grail, this unicorn in the wild. We found one with an unscathed or just slightly dinged up deck lid. So we took that home with us, strapped to the roof of the minivan, of course. And so we've started stripping that down to get it prepped out for paint. That perfect example, right? That is a project that would take 15 minutes normally, right? Taking the badges off, taking the struts off, taking the lights off, all of that kind of stuff. Really relatively simple. But we spent an entire day doing it, which is no big deal. It is totally cool. That is what it's all about, right? So yes, that is where we are at with it. And right now we are doing 2 long weekends a month. There is a schedule. If you reach out through the Girl Gang Garage website and say that you want to participate and get involved, you will get sent a link to the schedule so that you know when we are at the shop and when you're welcome to come. And we're going to be working on this all year long. So with that, I think that's all for the build. I don't know if there was any questions. I'm going to look really quickly at our questions. Okay, we've got 2 questions about All Girls Garage. Okay, so I am going to briefly talk on All Girls Garage. I have not been public about this yet. Nobody really has been talking about it, but many of you have noticed that All Girls Garage they haven't had any new episodes recently. And I've heard recently that the reruns have also stopped playing. And that is because with the merger with Warner Brothers, there were several Motor Trend TV shows that got discontinued. And very sadly, All Girls Garage was one of them. For those of you who don't know, All Girls Garage is completely separate from my shop, Girl Gang Garage. It is a TV show that was on Motor Trend. It was separate from Girl Gang Garage, 2 different things. Girl Gang Garage is in Phoenix. All Girls Garage was filmed in Florida. Faye and I are now focusing on our own things. We're both very sad about it. I miss working with her tremendously. I miss the production company and the crew and all of my family on that set. I did All Girls Garage for 12 years. Which is just an insane amount of time. And it breaks my heart that period of my life is over. However, I have to have faith and belief that there is a reason for it and that there's something else around the corner. And, we just have to keep going. So often in life, the things that are sad and upsetting, a few years later, we'll look back and say, oh, that's why that had to happen, right? That had to happen to make space for X, Y, and Z. And I don't know what that is yet. Maybe it's more of these charity builds. Who knows? But I have to have faith that it happened for a reason, because otherwise it's just sad. But I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to do it in the first place. And I'm so grateful for the incredible connections that I made as a result of it. And for all of the folks that are a part of my community and my family now that were not before. So I have zero regrets. I miss it. But that's the scoop. Somebody is asking, Josh is asking, I watch Motor Trend Fast TV on Tubi and it's still there. Well, that's good. Okay, I'm glad they're still showing them there. I don't know 100% the details on what they're going to be doing with reruns and that sort of stuff. We'll see. We'll see what happens. No idea, but I suggest, if you are upset about this decision, reach out to Warner Brothers and Discovery and Motor Trend and let them know. But otherwise, it kind of is what it is, and we don't always like things that happen in the world, but we just got to keep on keeping on, right? So that's it for All Girls Garage. Let's see, what else did I say I was going to talk about? So other things that are happening at Girl Gang Garage. So the other things that we are doing in addition to the charity build is we have ongoing, every month we do women's basic car care classes. So if you are not quite ready for the build or not ready to make that commitment, but you are interested in just knowing more about your vehicle and wanting to understand how it works, and more importantly, like how to feel less vulnerable when you go into the repair shop. That's really what these classes are about, right? How to ask the right questions, how to find a good shop. So I do these basic car care classes. They are very inexpensive. I do them every month at the shop, and please come out and check those out. We're also doing occasionally some motorcycle classes. And then we have, for ladies who've been involved previously, so once you come out to participate in the build, you are eligible for this. We have kind of open shop nights where ladies can come out and just kind of co-work on various projects that we have in the shop, alongside other women, and learn from and teach and share knowledge. And sometimes it evolves or devolves into just hanging out and talking and BSing and networking, I think is the official good term for it. But really just building community, right? And spending time in the shop, and it's a ton of fun. So we've been doing that every Tuesday and Thursday. We also, right now, if you don't follow Cheeto Beetle, that is an account that you also have to follow. So Cheeto Beetle is a fun story. There are two women. We call them lovingly the Katies, because they're both named Katie. One is older, one is younger. The older one is professionally a computer programmer and computer, I don't know, genius. And then the younger one is a collision tech, and she is an aspiring painter. She's phenomenally talented, and she works currently as a painter's prep, but is very much on the path to becoming a painter. She's a baby. She's 20 years old. But they are building a Volkswagen Bug together at the shop. It is not an all-female build, and I am not involved with it a whole heck of a lot, other than being there as emotional support and the occasional like poking and prodding and asking questions, or helping them make the project bigger than they originally intended. Sorry, Katie. I have a bad habit of doing that. But they're phenomenal. And so that build has always been happening on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so generally that's going on while the other ladies are out at the shop as well. So it's a ton of fun. But make sure you follow social media so you can see stories and updates about that. And I'm occasionally working on other vehicles as well. So that's Girl Gang Garage. And that's the update. All right. Excuse me. I'm surprised you guys aren't giving me all sorts of questions. This is I'm not used to this. Y'all are normally like way more questiony. So I guess that means you just are down for me just rambling. So that's cool. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit, because I want to ramble a little bit about the current state of the automotive industry, but trades in general. Side note, real quick before I dive into that, Brutus, will you please send the Instagram link for fundraising? Absolutely. I have no way of doing it right at this particular moment, but it will be in the description down below once this posts up after the fact. I am just I'm solo tonight. I don't have anybody behind the scenes, so I'm not able to post that right now, but it will be in the description. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the industry. Let's talk about the trades in general. So Lord knows I have a lot of opinions on all of this. It's an interesting time. We are seeing a lot of shifts in the way the trades are seen. But it's slow going. I think Mike Rowe, I'm sure you're all familiar, has done quite a bit to really advocate for the trades and raise awareness of the lack of people in the trades now, and how much we need to change that. Mike Rowe actually recently put out or had an interview where he revealed some stats that, to be fair, I have not fact checked this, but it doesn't surprise me in the least that there's some 7 million working age men, capable working age men who are not only unemployed, but not actively seeking employment, like actively choosing out of the job force. And it doesn't surprise, I mean, it's horrifying and it's crazy. And it makes unemployment numbers like completely irrelevant, right? If you've got 7 million working age men who are not even looking for work, I'm not sure what's going on there. I won't pretend to know all of the details of why that's happening, but we're feeling it, right? The trades in general have been experiencing a massive shortage of people. Every single automotive shop that I know is looking for technicians. Every single one. Maybe there's the rare exception of one or two that have some like such an amazing corporate culture that they don't ever have issues finding technicians. But that is by far the minority. I can think of one shop, maybe two nationally that I'm aware of, and I know a lot of shops that are not having trouble finding technicians. It is a national issue. In fact, I've heard it from folks in Australia. I've heard it from folks in New Zealand. I've heard it from folks in England and Canada. So it is a global issue. It is not just a US issue. We don't have mechanics. I also hear it from construction and union welders and fabrication and really anything, right? Like any of these hands-on plumbers, electricians, construction workers, like everywhere. Everywhere in the trades, the skilled trades, there is a massive shortage, and it's scary. Like, guys, it is scarier than I think the average person realizes. Yes, we're starting to talk now about there should be trade classes in schools again, and we should be encouraging kids into hands-on careers and acknowledging that not every child needs to go to college. And also that a 4-year college and a 2-year college are equally valuable and equally important, and that someone who wants to become an administrator and somebody who wants to become an electrician are of equal value to our society. So that's starting to maybe shift a little bit, but it is not shifted enough by any stretch of the imagination. And so we still have this massive deficit of tradespeople. And what that's going to translate to in the really near future is we're going to see the price of everything continue to go up, right? Everybody's upset about inflation. Got it, right? The price of things has been out of control. The supply chain was sent into a whirlwind during COVID. We still really haven't recovered from that. There's a lot of finger pointing, and there's a lot of blame, and there's a lot of people, talking about all sorts of different reasons why it's happening. And let's be real. There's a 1,000 different reasons why it's happening. However, one of the reasons that is contributing to that is we don't have the people to fix and build the things that make the world go round, right? And when that happens, the price gets driven up because we just don't have enough people to do it. And so the people who can do it can demand more money from it for it, which is good because I think tradespeople deserve to be paid more than they normally have been traditionally. Tradespeople deserve to be paid much more than they traditionally are because they literally make the world go round, right? They pave the roads, they fix the trains, they fix the cars, they fix the planes, they make your water run, they make your lights turn on, right? All the things that we depend on every day, a tradesperson did that. A tradesperson made that happen. And we're running out of them. And so it's horrifying. I think we're going to see prices continue to go up, supply chain issues continue to be an issue, and it's going to get dramatically worse before it gets better. Unfortunately, that's the way things go, right? Things tend to get worse before they get better. On the positive side of this, the silver lining to all of this is what that means for women and other minorities, is that there's a huge opportunity for careers that are increasingly well paid, that are increasingly in high demand, that nobody can ever take from you because it's right here, right? Nobody can take that skill from you. It can't be outsourced. It never goes away. I mean, yes, technology changes and you need to stay educated and you can fall behind, but you still have the raw skills, right? And so there's this huge opportunity for women to come in and fill those roles that clearly those 7 million men who are choosing out of the industry are, they're not choosing those careers, right? And I hear it from guys all the time within these industries. They don't want to learn the new technology. They don't want to learn the electric vehicles. They don't want to learn, they're terrified of the self-driving cars, which, like, I get, I have my fears around those too. That's a whole nother topic. But there are a lot of folks who are choosing out for various reasons. There is a massive gap in what is needed versus what we have, which means there is tremendous opportunity for women to come in and learn and excel and create great lives for themselves within the skilled trades. And that part gets me excited. And I'm seeing it play out, right? There's a young woman I know who works with Volvo. And she started out as a young technician, just starting out of school and kind of trying to work her way up. And they weren't really giving her, the folks that she worked with weren't necessarily giving her the opportunity. But she worked her way up and she took advantage of the opportunities in front of her, which was nobody wanted to touch the electric vehicles. So she learned them. And she started working on all of them. And when nobody else wanted to do it, she said, sure, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. And she kept working on them and growing her knowledge and growing her skill set to the point where she became the most trusted person in that dealership for the electric vehicles. They came to her for problem solving. They came to her when they had questions. And eventually, and not over a very long amount of time, it didn't take much for her to accelerate her career, to actually get hired on by Volvo corporate, who made her into a technical support specialist, right? So she is now helping technicians all over the country because she was willing to learn something that nobody else was willing to learn. And that's really cool, right? I think that is a really awesome thing because there's so much opportunity there for people to get their foot in the door of an industry that has traditionally not made it very easy to get your foot in the door. Let's be honest. The automotive industry, I love it. I love the automotive industry for so many reasons. And for so many other reasons, I absolutely hate it. If you've been watching this series for any length of time, you know that I have a serious love-hate relationship with the trades and a serious love-hate relationship with the automotive industry. There's good, there's bad, there's ugly, there's beautiful. There's times when I want to defend the industry and to outsiders. Outsiders will talk smack about the industry and I will come to the defense of the industry so hard, so hard. But I'm also the industry's biggest critic. We have problems. Our systems are broken in a lot of ways, and we have not always been friendly to outsiders. And the trades in general has been like that. We have not been friendly to women. We have not been friendly to minorities. We've definitely not been friendly to LGBTQIA folks. We've not been all that friendly, but we are so in need of people that there's opportunity in that. And I think that part is exciting. So our challenges are also the opportunities, as it tends to be in life, right? Um, so much of what I've learned about working on cars and working with my hands is stuff that translates to life in general. And so much about the industry is it translates to life in general, right? Um, our biggest flaws are also our biggest opportunities and biggest potential source of strength. Um, there's so much left to be desired within the trades, especially for women and minorities. But I do think things are changing. I think it is a slow process. I think we tend as human beings to want change to happen now. We want it right now. We get impatient. Um, and we forget how far we've come in a very short amount of time, right? Uh, I have to remind myself regularly that it was not that long ago that women were not allowed to have our own credit cards or be on a mortgage, that we were not allowed to go into the trades or take shop class in high school. And just the very fact that I was allowed to take auto shop, right? I was discouraged. I was made fun of. Sure, that all happened. That was real, right? 25 years ago, I was made fun of for wanting to. It was more than 25 years ago. I'm getting really old. I was made fun of for wanting to take auto shop, but I was allowed to, and that is because there was so much work done prior to that moment that allowed me to be there. And so change is happening. It is incredibly slow. It is never as fast as we want it to be. And unfortunately, sometimes it happens, too little, too late, right? Like this trade deficit that we're experiencing. The folks in the industry, in the automotive industry at least, and I'm assuming in the other trades as well, have been talking about this for decades. Right? For decades, we've been saying, hey guys, there's a problem coming. There's a big problem coming. There's a shortage. We have a problem, y'all. Hey, we need a life raft here. Like there's a serious problem, y'all. And nothing changed. And now things are maybe starting to change, like incrementally, bit by bit by bit by bit. But we're already in crisis. We are already in crisis as far as the lack of tradespeople. So things need to change quicker, but I need to remind myself that change happens slowly. It does not happen as fast as we want it to, but it is happening. I think back to just what the world was like, when I was in high school, a long ass time ago. But it was a different world back then, right? I've got some comments in the audience saying that aviation is suffering the same fate. Absolutely, right? Both on the civilian and the defense side. And that touches on some important stuff too, right? Like you'll hear me say all the time that tradespeople, we are the ones who make the world go round, but also like we're the ones who defend, right? The tradespeople are the ones who are building and flying and dealing with all the defense stuff. And what do we do when there's nobody to fix those vehicles, right? When that there's so much at stake when we think about what happens when we don't have people to build and fix the things that we rely on every day to live, to have a house, to go to the grocery store, to buy food, to get the food from the farm to the grocery store, to defend the nation. There is so much at stake when we talk about running out of technicians and builders and fixers, construction workers, electricians, plumbers. Like, where are we without them? I know I'm beating a dead horse. Clearly, this is something that I'm passionate about. And we've also got a comment that parents need to become advocates for the trades. Yeah, and that opens a really interesting. So here's the challenge with that, right? Parents need to become advocates for the trades. So the challenge with that is that because the trades has a notoriously bad reputation, folks who aren't in the trades think of it as something less than, right? The average person, not everybody, right? Of course, but there are lots of people still to this day who want their kids to go to a 4-year college and think of a career in the trades as a less than, quote unquote, kind of position. So those parents aren't advocating for the trades because they don't see value in it, because they don't understand that the world stops without tradespeople, right? So they're not advocating for the trades because they want better, air quotes, for those of you listening and not watching. They want better for their kids. And so they're not advocating for the trades. And then those that are in the trades, there's been a lot of studies, especially within the automotive industry, that show that like a alarming percentage of automotive technicians, and my guess is it's not dissimilar in other trades industries, would not, when asked this question, they say that they would not want their kids to pursue this career path. I'm going to say that again and let that sink in. I think it's over 50%. I don't remember the exact stat. Somebody's going to have to fact check me on this one, but I know that it is an alarmingly high percentage of automotive technicians say that they do not want their children pursuing a career as automotive technicians. I do not know, but my guess is it is the same for other trades or similar for other trades. And that is because of the flaws within the industries, right? Like I said a few moments ago, there's some good, there's some wonderfully good, and then there's some bad. And that bad makes people not want their kids to pursue this because they want, quote unquote, better for their kids. Better is possible within the trades. There are many, many, many people who make phenomenal lives for themselves and make good livings and find good shops and find good employers and find good crews to work with. And they stay in the industry and they have great experiences. So that is definitely a thing and is definitely possible. But there are so many places that are not good. And it makes people want to leave the industry, and it makes people not want their kids to be part of the industry. And so if the parents who aren't in the trades aren't advocating for the trades because they want better for their kids, and at least half of the people in the trades are not advocating for the trades because they want, quote unquote, better for their kids. Houston, we have a problem. Like, this is why we have a trade deficit, right? And that is why I always come back to the reputation of the shop and why I hate horseplay in the shop, why I hate the smack talking and the hazing of new technicians and all of the lack of professionalism. Like, not because I can't hang, I can totally freaking hang. Believe you me, I can curse with the best of them and I can be crude with the best of them. But it doesn't serve any positive end, right? All of that negativity, anything that even smells of taking advantage of customers or lack of professionalism or sexism or sexual harassment or racism or any of the isms, right? Like, all of that stuff shines a bad light on the industry and makes people less likely to want their kids to go into it. And it also makes it less likely for people in the industry to stay in the industry, especially if they are, heaven forbid, a woman or a minority of any sort, right? So we've got to fix it from the inside, right? If we want to change the perception of the trades, we have to change the trades from the inside and help make it a better place. and make it the norm. Make the good shops, because they do exist. There's so many wonderful shops out there. Make that the norm, right? We need to push out the crap. We need to push out the folks that are not a good name for the trades and for the industry, because we need to bring in a better reputation and usher in a new era for the trades where it is highly respected and highly esteemed and paid well and a safe place to work, whether you're a woman or a minority or transgendered or whatever you are, right? Purple, yellow, polka dots, I don't care what you are. You should feel safe working in the field of your choice, in the career of your choice. And we need to usher in that era if we're going to start attracting more people to the trades and having people want their kids to be in the trades. Does that make sense? The follow-up question was asked, can you address retention issues of automotive technicians? I feel like that's kind of what I've just been saying, right? Because women are not staying in the industry. A lot of folks, men as well, are not staying in the industry. We are seeing it disproportionately with women, or maybe it just hurts more because our numbers are so small that when we lose them, like we fought so hard to attract women to trade school and we fought so hard to get women into entry-level positions that when we lose them, it hurts more. But we're losing men and women, don't get me wrong, from these industries. I definitely know within the automotive industry, we're losing people. Our numbers, our percentages were about 1.9 when I started out. We got up to about 2.5-ish at some point. And then COVID kind of sent us back a ways. We're down back to like 1.8 or something like that, I think, according to the last Department of Labor statistics. So our numbers are going back down because during COVID, right, who was expected to quit their job and stay home and take care of the kids? We still live in a society where that was expected of the women more than of the men. And so a lot of women chose out and left the field, but we're also seeing a lot of women leaving the industry right around the 4-year mark is when I see younger technicians saying, I love working on cars, but I don't love it that much that I'm willing to put up with the crap. And maybe they give up too soon. Who am I to say? Because I do know that there are amazing shops out there. But I also know, for a lot of folks, if you live in a rural area or if you live in a smaller town, there might not be a good shop near where you are, and you might need to relocate, and that might not be an option for you. And sometimes, let's just be honest, it's exhausting. It is exhausting to lean into the discomfort of being and sticking it out in a place where you might not be wanted or valued or respected or treated well. And it takes a lot, and it's tiring. And so a lot of women are saying, I don't want this. I don't want it enough. I don't love it enough to stick it out. So yeah, I think it's all related. I think all of it is a big tangled bowl of spaghetti of we need to improve the reputation. We need to respect ourselves more so that other people can respect us more. We need to charge more. We need to be paid better. We need better benefits. We need to advocate for trades in the schools. We need to value the trades as a society. All of it is intertwined, right? And all of it has left us where we're at now with this massive trade deficit, but also this tremendous opportunity. Dane is saying, what is this? There is hope too. One of the new girls with us in the garage loves learning to weld. She does not have parents who know how to weld, so it's up to us who do know to share that knowledge. Absolutely, Dane. I 100%. And those of you who don't know who Dane is the amazing father of the lovely Miss Riley of Riley's Rebuilds. She was on an earlier episode of the podcast. You can definitely go and check that out. She is a phenomenal young woman. She rebuilt carburetors, started her own company building carburetors. Now she's got a TV show. She's really boss, and you should definitely go check her out. And her dad is totally boss. And yeah, dads like that Amazing, passing the knowledge on. The number of young women who I have spoken to said, my dad was a welder or was a mechanic or was a construction worker, but he refused to teach me. That, like, we got to change that. We need people willing to share the knowledge. Or the older generation of folks who say, I don't want to teach you my hard-learned lessons. I'm not going to share with you. I had to learn it the hard way. You're going to learn it the hard way too, right? That needs to be done. We need to be willing to share knowledge. We need to be willing to take people under our wings and teach them so that they have opportunity. So there is hope, because I really do believe that people and society will sit on the fence until it becomes too uncomfortable to sit there, right? And change does not happen until it becomes too uncomfortable to stay the same. Change will not happen until it becomes too uncomfortable to stay the same. Nobody likes change. And change generally only happens when it is forced to happen, when it becomes too uncomfortable to stay the same, which is why I say that things have to get worse before they get better. We are going to have to, as a society, feel the pains of what not having technicians and builders and makers and fixers and the people who make the world go round. We're going to have to feel the pain a little bit of what it looks like to not have that before things start to change, right? We're getting close to the end of this live stream, and I'm going to squeeze this in there. This is a story that if you've been following me for any amount of time, you probably have heard me say this before, but I lived in New York during 9/11. And for those of you who remember 9/11, there was a period in New York where folks who worked in offices felt really contributing. They felt useless, right? In their words, a lot of folks were saying, wow, I feel really useless. Because the people who were required to get the city going again and get things moving again and fixed were the tradespeople. It was the construction workers, it was the plumbers, it was the electricians, it was the firefighters and police officers, it was the mechanics, it was the engineers, it was the hands-on folks who are generally not respected as much in our society. And for a very short moment in time after 9/11, there was this respect for tradespeople, where office folks were saying, wow, I have so much respect for these people who are out there putting our city back together. And it was a beautiful moment. It was this beautiful moment in time where we valued each other. And 9/11 was horrific. Do not get me wrong. Like, it was a horrific thing. And those who lost somebody in it, I am very sorry for your loss. As a New Yorker, like, we were all affected. But there was a beauty in that, because there was this love and connection and humanity and humanness that came out afterwards, and community, God, the community, and people respecting each other, and this moment of people respecting the trades and trades folks. But of course, it didn't last. Right? It was short-lived, because once the city was back together and functioning, everybody just went about their daily lives, and we forget about the people who make it possible for us to live our daily lives. So with that, I want to say, I think the trades is headed into crisis at the moment. But with that comes incredible opportunity for rebuilding. And we are builders, and we are makers, and we are fixers of things, right? That is what we do. So as trades folks, we are really good at fixing things. And now it's time for us to fix our industries. It's time to build stronger industries. It's time to build stronger communities and better corporate cultures and better work environments and safer work environments, so that we can, in all honesty and belief in every fiber of our being, that we can say to young kids, this is an amazing career path where there's tons of opportunity for you. Where we can say in all earnest to parents that you should encourage your kids to go into these fields, because they're going to make a great wage, and they're going to be safe, and they're going to be respected, and they're going to be valued, and they're going to make a great life for themselves. we need to build that, right? That is up to us within these industries to make the change from the inside. What the future of our industries look like is up to us. And unfortunately, it is going to take crisis before things start to change. But I think we're getting really close to that crisis, frighteningly enough. And I also think that there's tremendous opportunity for women to come in and fill that void and make change, and improve and create opportunities for themselves in the process. So that is my hot take on the state of the industry, its challenges, its opportunities. We are at the hour as usual. I talk way too much. I am way too long-winded. I never claimed to be brief, or succinct or concise. I don't, Butch, thank you so much for your comment. Well said. I wish everyone in our industry could hear this. I agree. And please help me spread the word, guys, right? Let's get these podcasts out. Let's share this podcast. Make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, leave comments. The more comments you leave in the video, like after it's posted, yes, being live here and commenting is wonderful. And I love it. And it makes me feel warm and fuzzy. It makes me feel like I'm not just ranting out into the void. But please make sure you leave comments afterwards and hit like, hit subscribe, share these episodes with your friends and family. Because that is what tells the algorithm that they should allow more people to see these episodes. So help us spread the word, help us get the message out. Guys, thank you so much for being here and being loyal listeners. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And everybody, thank you guys so much. Make sure you come back next Wednesday. We do have an incredible guest lined up. It'll not be just me blabbing. We have an incredible woman for you to meet. And we've got a couple of really amazing ladies lined up for the next few weeks. Plus, of course, on Mondays, we have our archive episodes that get released. So 2 times a week, you get to listen to or watch the With Her Two Hands podcast and meet another incredibly inspiring woman kicking butt in the trades. Big thank you to our partner Drive Time for their support of this series and, of course, their partnership on our all-female build. There'll be links in the bio, or in the bio. There'll be links in the description for how to donate to Maggie's Place, for how to donate to Girl Gang Garage, for how to get signed up for the charity build. Make sure you follow on social media. Make sure you are subscribed on YouTube. And hey, if you want to show a quick, easy way to support what we're doing with Girl Gang Garage is go to the shop and buy a shirt, buy a cool trucker hat, buy some stickers, buy a cozy. I don't know, a beer koozie. Koozie? Not a cozy. Koozie. I'm tired, y'all. All right, with that, I'm going to quit rambling. You guys are amazing. I appreciate you so much. Make sure you come back next week. And until next time, be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Be good human beings. We'll see you later.